guys, it's been a second since I've done an update video. I know my last video was like, oh, taking it seriously. Like finally the gym was open, but I kind of overestimated how not having a gym and just everything going on in the last year was, how do I say, extremely mentally taxing and tiring, and like having the desire to lose weight or gain weight or lift really consistently kind of went to hell. But I miss it. I miss it a lot. So we are starting out the year. We I am starting out the year with short to size is my plan. A little modified in there with some lacking body parts that I would like to give a boost to. But I was filling out my actually my wellness Molstein review that I just reviewed in my last video about oh, my goals for last year. And I was like, usually I do like a year in review and a whole process and really think about it. And I just kind of went nah, I'm good. I'm just X-nayed all of them and just wrote 2021 in there. So we're just starting over. We are not reviewing this last year. It is now dead to me. Goodbye. So, but let's dive into dieting. Just that's my update. But dieting, I want to talk about it. Dieting is a hot topic these days, in a good and a bad way. On one hand, you have people who are like, oh my God, I've gotten like 3 text messages. Just most of my close friends know that I'm like in the fitness world and it's my favorite, it's my jam, it's my everything. So it's like, hey, I'm gonna do a, all smoothie diet and what are just these fad diets of whatever it is on one hand. And then on the other hand are people who are anti-diet at all in any way, shape, or form. And they think it's like toxic and problematic and all these things, which I don't, I'm sure that there's some I know there's some validity to that because we make it, humans have made it that way. Every animal has a diet. When you talk about rats have a diet, a thing they follow. We all have diets, whether they're regulated or written out or not. Like maybe your diet is McDonald's and Cheetos. I don't know. I love Cheetos. I'm as weak as Cheetos as the next person, but we all have a diet. It's just we have made it into this kind of we've equated dieting with suffering. They are hand in hand, and you cannot separate the two. At least here in America, I don't know how other cultures really deal with it. I'm sure that our, marketing and influence has spread across the world. So I'm sure it's a negative for a lot of people. But you don't have to diet to lose weight. You don't have to. It's not okay, but let's talk about the nuances of what that means. So most diets, also don't mind I'm looking here. I have some notes here. I didn't want to just ramble forever and then forget the point I was talking about. So, you know, on the big surface, dieting and losing weight is simply just burning more calories than you consume. Weight loss. Now, of course, there's a million nuances. There are hormonal problems. There are what kinds of food you're eating. There are a lot of factors that make it nuanced, but that is the end of the day. That is the science behind losing weight. So do you have to diet to lose weight? No, because if this is your maintenance, and let's say you start working out to, decrease the amount of overall calories, then you don't have to diet. And the thing with dieting is that almost every diet that someone goes on, paleo, this, that, fit teas, whatever it is, almost everybody fails at the diet after a few months, because it's we view diets as these things that we do that are just oh, I just have to suffer through this and then I can go back to eating whatever I want, instead of ever sitting down and changing the basic main diet, right? Cutting out sodas is saving you hundreds of calories a week, a day, whatever your consumption level is. And not that at the same time you don't have to cut out everything fun. I can have wings and I can have pizza and maintain my I think 16% body fat percentage, because my normal daily healthy habits are, I don't want to say healthier, because that's not really that's hard to just like make a blanket statement, but I have cut out a lot of bad habits that would normally be a deterrent for a lot of people. So, okay, so the first thing you need to know is that you need to know what your basic calories you need to consume in a day. Because the biggest problem is that people over or underestimate the amount of food that they're eating in a day. Like when you actually sit down, like when I finally calculated and I was doing my macros, like how many calories were in the damn creamer I was putting in my coffee, my mind was blown. And my guess from just like, oh, I guess I'm eating blah, blah, blah was so off. And also, we overestimate how many calories we are burning when we work out. I see all these people with like fitness watches and they upload the screenshots of how many calories they burned. And so many of those things are so inaccurate and so off. I see people who are like, oh, I ran for 30 minutes and I burned 1,000 calories. Like, that's literally, I mean, unless you were running at like Olympic level sprinter speed the whole time, like that's not scientifically how that's going to work, right? So mine, as a 5'8" female, 135-ish pounds, 16% ish body fat, give or take, who works out 5 days a week, sometimes 6, is 2,337 calories per day. That is my maintenance. If I go above that, I'm going to gain weight. If I go below that and maintain my activity level, I'm going to lose weight. Now, the problem is that most people want to work out for an hour and then just like look at a picture of a salad for lunch and call that a meal for like their whole day. And that is the exact opposite also of what you want to do. Not that you won't get, I mean, you'll get results, but when you're falling asleep in the middle of your meeting with your manager at noon, you're going to have some problems. Back when I was training people, we always started with, okay, you're going to maintain your diet. You're just going to drink more water throughout the day. And you're just going to make sure that every meal has a veggie. I kept it real low. I wasn't like, oh, you need to fill up your plate with like half veggies and like a whole thing of protein, like a fist of all these rules, right? Because when you make slow and steady habits and a little bit of growth and a little bit of change and a little bit better every single day, like everyone should read Atomic Habits. That book is great on habits and like how essential small incremental ones are. And I'd be like, okay, you need to have a veggie before you eat anything. Like that's the rule here. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you pop a tomato in your mouth. I don't care if you just like nibble on a little broccoli, a little carrot, whatever it is, we're starting there. But also, I mean, keeping in mind, I made people work out. I think strength training is very essential, which we'll get to in a second. But um, that's generally where I started with people because, and I fold up the numbers here. One of those small bags of Doritos, not even the big ones that are the yummy, all the Doritos. One little one is like over 400 calories. I think it's 420, which is like, I think they planned that right. But anyway, 400 calories. And then an entire steak is 679 calories. Think of which one is more filling, that little tiny snack bite of Doritos or a whole steak, because the thing is you don't have to give up and like only eat salads. And also salads don't work because most people just put on so much dressing. Like I'm a big fan of like ranch and like Russian dressing, which is just, you'll just patch on the calories as if you would have eaten a hamburger with like one bun taken off, like it would have like it adds up to be the same. So you might as well pick foods that are a little more nutrient dense. And also, one chicken breast is 231 calories, one cup of rice is 206 calories. So obviously, and a lot of people are like, oh, only eat real unprocessed foods. And it's like, yes, fully agree. Fully agree. That is a great place to start. But for a lot of people, one, that's too drastic of a change. Most of the American, I assume, who will ever watch this video diet is processed foods, sugary snacks, sugary drinks, alcohol. Like, we are a nation fueled on caffeine and sugar. So, being like, oh, just only have chicken breast for a meal, sometimes it's too drastic of a change. It really is. But just continuing to eat what you normally eat, but making slightly better changes while you build the habit of drinking more water, thinking about including a veggie or two. And also, I always recommend for everybody strength training because, um, not to get too sciencey, but while you do cardio, those are the calories burned while you're doing it. That is it. You're done. When you strength train or do like high intensity stuff and you're like tearing your muscles, it takes like 24 to 48 hours of calorie burning time because like while your body's repairing those muscles, it's also burning. It's just a long-term way to like continuously burn calories versus like that short little just running episode. Also, muscles just make you look good. Every woman who wants to get toned, what they're saying is, I want a little bit of muscle and a little less fat, is like how you get toned. There's no like, I do cardio for hours and then I'm toned. Like, that's not how that works. Another video for another day. But, that's pretty much it. I think, all of the years of fitness and wellness advice is boiled down to small changes that don't make you miserable and move your body. Sorry, I can't package that into a giant ebook and sell it for $49.95 and then sell a book on that. Like, but that is really what it comes down to. So, if you're starting out the year with big fitness goals, like, mine is I'm doing shortcut to size to kick off the year because I would like to build a little muscle back because I've lost a little bit over this last year of not lifting heavy. And instead of being like, oh my God, okay, I need to come right out the gate and start hitting 200 grams of protein and like doing all and drinking a protein shake every other hour and this and that and sleeping 9 hours a day. And like, while all that is important, my first habit is like, okay, make it to the gym every day for 2 weeks. First habit. Cool. And then from there, the next habit I'm going to focus on is like making sure I am adding like a protein shake per day. Now, I keep in mind, like, I have a little list of like habits I could do throughout the day, but I focus on one at a time to build the habit, which is how I've literally been able to maintain the body I do, maintain the health I do. Not that I'm the healthiest person in the world, but my blood results are pretty good. So, and I'm pretty lean, I would say, but it's really just these small habits that compound over time, which is not sexy, which is not as fun as a new Fitbit and a new app and new running shoes and new this. And not that the gear doesn't help, but if you really, really want this to be the year where you make health changes and really start to turn it around, baby habits, what is the easiest, least painful thing you can do in your days? If you're drinking sodas, like 8 a day, make one of them water. Don't go crazy. Don't cut them all out. Unless you're on the edge of death or something, but like that's between you and your doctor, not me. But like, what is the easiest thing you to do to get the ball rolling? And how can you make doing that habit as easy as humanly possible, right? Like maybe you buy a water that you carry around with you so you just don't forget. Like, are you bad at taking your water? Great. Are you bad at going to sleep on time? Like, set an alarm on your phone. Do something that makes doing the habit not hard. Don't go for salad. If you're that self-disciplined and you can just dive in and crush it and like be fine and like don't even worry about anything, have at it. But for the rest of us plebs, one small habit as easy as possible to do every day. And then over time, like throughout the course of a whole year, by this time next year, you don't even have to worry about like, oh, I need to dive into weight loss because you did it. You're done. Not done. It's a continual maintenance thing, but like, you've built the habit. So then it's not like, every January 1st, I don't need to focus on losing weight. Now, yes, genetics, yes, hormones, yes, all of these other things that like I understand contribute into this, but it's not like I have tons of money and I only eat like catered organic food and like only, I work and my schedule's insane and I am not perfect with my food, but the tiny little habits over time build up to success. Okay, cool. That's it. That's my rant on diets and everybody who's freaking out and all over my Instagram about like, oh my god, it's diet time. And I'm like, please don't make yourself miserable. Because spoilers, if it's miserable, you are never going to stick with it. Because I wouldn't either, and neither would most people. So that is it. If you are watching, what are your goals for the new year? You know, I'm going to start uploading. I really am this year. I wouldn't say all the time, every week or anything, but like there will be consistency. Just this is it. Cool. Okay. Bye, guys. Happy New Year.